All right. So this is being recorded immediately after the previous episode because I want to take care of these illagers. And aha! I brought a shield this time. Yeah, not so tough when you can't shoot me, are ya? As long as you ain't got your axe-wielding friend. Okay. Or a zombie. Zombies are also a pain in the behind for dealing with illagers because they just start whacking you and they start hitting you and it's like, well, great. So now I have a zombie beating me up while I'm slowly inching my way towards this illager that I need to take out. But the zombie wants me. What do I do? Now, I'm sure we've all had that problem. And I find it is easiest to just deal with the zombie first. Oh my god, speaking of which... Yep. There's a skeleton in here. Skeleton seeking sanctuary in my moat. Filled with the kelp of potential doom. With its wavy arms and unmoving stalk. And its potential to grab you being 0%. It's not a very good defense. Would not recommend for evil layers. I should probably surface, because, you know, breathing. However, I did want to get that kelp situation handled. Like, this stuff needs to be harvested when it gets this tall. It's a waste to not harvest it. When there's this much of it and it's all 3 tall and I'm sitting here with like, yeah, this is a stack and a half of kelp. Easy. Like, or 2 stacks and a half. Sorry, not 1. 2 stacks and a half. 2.5 stacks. Yeah. So, for me to not harvest it when I've got almost 3 stacks. Sorry. Talk about miscounting. Almost 3 stacks of kelp that I can just run over here and throw in the furnace. Yeah. Kelp is pretty awesome. But yeah, the reason why I'm recording this so soon after the last episode is A, I wanted to deal with those illagers. B, I want to record an episode where I don't have hours of trying to remember what it is I'm doing. You know, I want to be able to remember what I was trying to do the last episode. And needing to rewatch my own episode in order to figure out my own plan is kind of silly. And I don't really like the sound of that plan. So I'm just going to record this one and try not to go over the 1 hour time limit. Because, yeah. That being said, I usually try not to go over the 1 hour time limit. And, well, let's just say I've spent more than 4 episodes stitching video footage together because I went over the 1 hour time limit. There were a few times where I couldn't even do that because I just didn't have the storage for it. That's where some of the shorter episodes appeared from. That's why I have, 17 episodes currently posted, and yet it's only posted up to episode 15, which releases tomorrow at the time of this recording. And the episode that I just completed is episode 16, so that's 2 days away. And so this will be episode 17, which is 3 days ahead of the time of recording. So I do plan to start recording a week in advance, if possible. However, it's highly unlikely that I'll be capable because my phone is not capable of editing that much footage while storing that much footage. So I have to keep my phone's footage storage pretty lean. If I don't, the result is that I just won't be able to edit any of the footage. So if something crashes, I might not be capable of recovering the footage. If I want to have good quality content, especially if I want high quality content. If I want that 780p or whatever it is at 60 FPS, if I want 60 FPS videos, then I need to have my video editing actually editing. I have to edit my videos because otherwise they're all going to be at 480. And I, of course, want better than 480 for my videos because I like the quality. Yes, it's Minecraft. And yes, everything is blocks. However, there are moments when you're scanning in the distance and you're trying to spot, are there any enemies? Are there any landmarks I'm looking for? Maybe I'm out exploring. And for episodes like that, you're going to want that high quality. And if there's something that I missed that maybe someone else saw, then they will want that high quality to give them the capability to see what that thing that they saw that I probably didn't actually was. And I am glad that I made that jump. I'm also glad I didn't fall in the lava on that jump. I need a shovel. So I came back here to make a shovel. I need multiple shovels, in fact. Probably not as many as I've been making. I'm about to need a pickaxe. So I'll make 2. But I will need a shovel. I'll probably need multiple. Okay. I am aware that my character is hungry. I'm waiting until they get just a little bit hungrier because I'm not currently injured. And honestly, it just means I get to eat more of the chicken that I otherwise would have no method of getting rid of. So, because I'm just absolutely over-flooded with food, I'll let my character be just a little bit hungry. I think I'll manage when I have to just eat a bunch of food all at once. Oh my, whatever will I have to do? Maybe I'll go and retrieve one of the other 4 stacks of chicken that I have. I think I'll be fine. So yeah. Gravel. I've not looked up still if any of this is in slime chunks or not. I probably shouldn't dig too far this way because I don't remember which direction I'm digging. And let me also make sure I grab anything that's down there and then plop block down. Okay, yeah. I don't want to dig too far in this direction. Because if I dig too far, then I'll end up basically digging all the way to the forest on the first cut. And it's like, ooh, that could be a bit of a trek. Let's maybe not. Like, it would be great to just have that clear-cut path, but at the same time, could we not do that on the first cut? You know? Like, sometimes you want to do multi-part because you want to have your infrastructure as you go. So I do want this, actually. Like, that's the great thing about Minecraft, is it teaches you about infrastructure. Like, yeah, you could just dig your way all the way out to your friend's base, and you could just use a pickaxe or two or 7 or however many it takes. But wouldn't it be nicer if you had, like, minecarts, and then you could just travel back to your base whenever you needed a new pickaxe on a minecart, and you didn't have to walk the whole way there and the whole way back? Like, you'd have minecarts, so all you'd have to do is just carry around a minecart. You'd of course set up the receiving end of your minecart track first. Seriously? Okay, A, that was not what I intended to do. B, it's just up ahead. I was like, did I like entirely miss what I was trying to dig out? No, it was just up ahead. So yeah, oh, that's the lava. I almost dug that out. Boy, would I have been surprised. I'd have been like, oh, no, that's not what I wanted, that's not what I wanted, undo. I was like, oh, stone, wait, that's cobblestone, wait, when did I use cobblestone out here? Wait a minute. It's like, yup. You almost let out the lava. Good job. So yeah. I wouldn't mind upgrading my setup and all this, actually getting a computer capable of streaming, Like, I'd love to stream on Twitch and these other social media platforms. I just don't have the capability of doing it. Like, I lack the hardware that is required for such an ordeal of a task. I have the technical know-how of vaguely how to hook everything together so that I'm capable. My computer just can't handle the task ever since it got an entire core restricted to the kernel. That really did kind of kill the dual core processors. Like, they should have included a patch that just said, look, if it's a dual core, maybe have it as an option so that it has a performance mode, which, by the way, for those who are interested, that is why the Linux and the Unix operating systems are entirely outperforming Windows, is because they actually gave their users the options that the users have been actually wanting for quite a while now. And so the users are noticing, hey, I've wanted this feature. Why has nobody told me that this feature exists over here and not over there? I'm not using over there anymore. Why? Because they don't have any features I want. Well, it just so happens that currently over there is Windows. And that was, for the longest time, a lot of the reason why people were, of course, using the iOS devices. You know, the Apple phones, the iPhones. iPhones, of course, are pretty good still. They are a good device. Don't get me wrong. They aren't the best device for certain tasks. And those tasks do vary, of course, based on your needs for it. Man, it's only been 18 minutes. Okay. I wanted to make sure we had enough time to talk about this. I guess we do. So yeah. Oh, that was close. Don't want that to overflow. That would waste resources. I want that over there, actually. It's filling up nicely. Oh. Which one was this? That one? Yeah, that one. Wait, is that gravel? It's only gravel. Okay, so I got a full stack of gravel. And what else was there? Suppose I have a full stack of torches. I could deposit the pumpkins, of course. I will need another pickaxe very soon. And yeah, it looks like that's pretty much everything. Let me restock on the kelp here. Make sure everything's all good, which it is, of course. A horse is a horse, of course, Mr. Ed. And remember, children, don't say that one to girls. They apparently don't like being compared to horses. Who knew? I mean, you'd never know it, because they always have a long face. Sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. The pun was too good to pass up. Okay. I wanted... Oh no, I have an extra pickaxe. In that case, I just want the shovel. So I have the extra pickaxe. I want twigs. Shovel, shovel. I suppose I do want the extra pickaxe, just in case. Oops. See, I was trying to avoid doing that, and I did it anyways. Okay, so I want to split that and split that. Move that there, move that there. And then... there we go. Now I just stack all these up, build a pickaxe. Collect the sticks. Okay. Sorry. My OCD kind of got the better of me there. Of course, I made it so I don't have any inventory slots available to craft. My mistake. I do have some stuff I need to drop off at the old base anyways, so I shall head over there. This path will of course become quicker as time progresses because I will have cleared out all of that territory in the meantime. Why do I feel like there was something else I could do? Right, I could deposit all of these extra building materials that I don't actually need this many of. That frees up some space. Spare shovel, spare pickaxe. There we go. Now I've got some good inventory space. Now I can come over here and I think I'll start clearing out this little hill. So yeah, I don't remember what topic I was talking about before. My mind drifts like that. Sometimes I'm just sitting there working away, blathering on about something. Usually something important. Probably. But like, if you ask me what it was a minute later, I probably won't remember. Because I just processed that much information that I don't remember what I was thinking about. I know what I know, but I don't remember what I was thinking about. You know? So, like, I still know the info, and if I get reminded of the topic, I can tell you all about it. Because I do know it. And I suppose that's the difference between knowing something and memorizing something. Like, you can know what the conversation is, but if you've already memorized the topic, do you really need to pay attention to the conversation? And the answer 9 times out of 10 seems to be no, which is kind of sad. But then there is, of course, that chance encounter where you do need to pay attention to the conversation because you found something new. Joyous day, you can learn something new, something you haven't already memorized. You know? Some people haven't reached that point in their life yet. Some people have. Some people have no idea that that point in their life actually exists yet. Some people don't realize it. And that's fine. It's fine if people don't realize that there will eventually become a point in their life where they won't have anything else to learn, where they're not constantly going, you know, you're not always going to be the Energizer Bunny. You're not always going to be on go mode. And that's usually where people have a midlife crisis. But if you manage to reach that point before you're at the middle of your life, people will start to look at you weird. And it's like, well, why are you giving me funny looks? You reached the same conclusion last week, Bob. You know? And it's like, well, yeah, but I'm 30 and 40 and I spent my retirement fund on a Ferrari. Okay, well, I haven't made a retirement fund, so I can't afford a Ferrari. But guess what? Same conclusion either way. So, is it a midlife crisis if it's not in the middle of your life? I have no idea. But I can tell you this. Life can sometimes just not be fun. And sometimes life is really fun. But if we only focus on the fun parts, then we can't enjoy life. And if we only focus on the good parts, then we can't appreciate what we have. So we need to remember to have a balance of both in order to be capable of appreciating what we have. But we need to remember to appreciate both in a way which respects both, but does not drive both of them or either of them off. So if we have friends who are a bad influence, okay, sometimes you just have that friend who is just, he's a bad person. He's a bad influence on everyone. And maybe he's a bad influence on you, or she. Could be a she. But, there's always that person who's a bad influence. And if this person is a bad influence constantly, then they're going to drive off all of your friends. That's just inevitable. That's social economics right there. If you have a friend who is toxic for everything, then it will eventually cost everything to maintain that friendship, because it's just going to kill you. And so there's that to consider. But then there are friends who are trying to prevent that type of friendship from getting out of control and taking over your life. And so you have to consider those friends as well. And that can be a difficult thing to navigate and a difficult thing to figure out. But honestly, the only people who can figure it out are the people in that situation, and everyone else is only really capable of going and acting based on the information that they are actively aware of. And if information is being withheld from that person, they can't, in good consciousness or in good knowledge, make any such decisions on the matter. And that's, of course, the basics for making medical decisions for someone as well. So if someone has what's known as the power of attorney, then that person will be capable of making medical decisions for a person who has become incapacitated. Such as, for example, if they want to not be put on life support, the power of attorney would have control over that. But power of attorney is not something that can just be freely given. There's like lawyers involved and a judge and court case and a lot of money. It's very expensive. And very complicated. It's not something that is easily performed. It's not an easy task, and it's hopefully never necessary. It's really not something that you want to have, but if not prepared for, it can become relevant. It can become important, and if not prepared, it can become quite a medical nightmare, because it might cause something to happen that you didn't want to happen because you weren't very clear on what you wanted, and no one really asked you and said, hey, what's your opinion on this? What's your opinion on that? What's your opinion on the current state of affairs for, your living conditions. No one asked, so no one really knows, because there's no question being sent out. Without a question, there can be no answer, because otherwise there's no question. Why is there an answer if there's no question? Why is there a question if there's no answer? The two concepts are somewhat mutual to each other. They're not mutually exclusive, but they are mutual to each other. I personally prefer mutually exclusive things. I've had a lot of bad relationships in the past, and boy, my relationship history sucks. Like, I can get the girls. That's not the problem. The problem is what the girls want. Like, none of these people seem to want me for me. And I'm not just saying that because I'm poor. Yeah, I'm too poor, but, like, just because I'm too poor doesn't mean that I'm not a great guy. I am a great guy. I know I'm a great guy. But, like, nobody ever really wants to date me. And it's like, well, maybe if people would start talking to me, I'd develop a better personality. But, I've been dealing with people for a long time, and I've found that people are best kept at a distance, because people tend to be human, and humans, in all honesty, really can't be trusted. Like, I've seen some of these advertisements that are out there, and some of them are just wrong. Like, Gardenscapes used to be a great game, and now Gardenscapes is completely sellout material. They clearly put no time investment in their advertising budget, and they instead just decided, hey, we're going to use false advertising for our advertising campaign to try and draw in more customers, because apparently no one's interested in playing a match 3 game that ends up making you pay money because the levels are so insanely hard that there's literally thousands of people complaining. And with only 10,000 people downloading their app at the time, it was definitely a noticeable amount. And we're not talking about level 50 or anything. No, we're talking level 573, level 987. One person was all the way up to level 2,436. And it's like, oh my god, this game goes on for that long, and the levels just keep getting worse and worse and worse. I understand that it's a match 3 game, and I understand that this entire game is supposed to build this entire wonderful massive mansion and all this other stuff, and it's gonna be lovely looking, and I get to customize all of the colors, and it'll look very pretty. But if the underlying component that actually drives the plot behind the game suddenly stops working, then you don't have a game anymore. And if that component is repetitive and flashy, there's a chance that it will end up being repetitive and migraine inducing when the people are not capable of progressing further because for whatever reason they weren't capable of advancing through a level and they weren't capable of maintaining the resulting optimum random number generation that each level is expected to have. And it's like, well, okay, so I get that you assign the random number generation to the first playthrough of the level and probably like the first 5 playthroughs of the level. However, it really should be that the level is programmed to get easier with each failure. And I'm pretty sure that all of these developers for all of these match 3 games are entirely missing out on that point. That if a person fails, they want to succeed the next time they try. And if they don't, they start getting discouraged. Now, it might seem wise to make them focus harder and work harder until they, manage to succeed. But the problem with that is if they don't succeed, then you risk just alienating your fan base, and then no one will want to play your game because your game's too hard. Fun fact about Mario, sorry about that. My dad was bringing me some food, some eggs. So yeah, if the I forgot what I was saying. I got distracted by my dad. Simply put, if you're taking longer than you need to in order to accomplish the task, you will find that you're probably doing something wrong, and because of that, you probably will find that when you review what you know or what you think you know, that there will be a discrepancy where one side is consistently behaving in one manner, and then the other side is consistently behaving in another manner. And when you compare the two, you will find that the difference, the discrepancy, the differential, whatever name or label you want to give it, will always be very consistent, and there will always be some sort of singular driving factor or force. There might be a singular driving force, it might be a singular driving factor, it might be a singular motivation. There might be multiple motivations, but if the result doesn't change, you'll find that the reason the result doesn't change is because something has happened that is probably blocking the desired result. And that could be a very wide variety of problems, especially depending on what kind of issues you're addressing. I managed to go through all of my shovels and all of my pickaxes. But yeah, depending on what you're addressing as the issue and what the issue actually is, you can find yourself facing a very wide category of problems. And these problems aren't always going to be easy to fix. They aren't always going to be neatly organized into their own little compartmentalized spaces. You know? Problems aren't always going to be simple. Sometimes problems are this complicated web of emotions that we put ourselves through in order to figure out what it is that we want out of life. And if that sounds complicated, whew, you have not heard the half of it. Because there is more. But the simple point, the short and sweet version of it all, is that we just need, as a species, to stop destroying ourselves. Because destroying ourselves is, well, self-destructive, obviously. It's not healthy. It's not something to be proud of, and it's not something that anyone or anything should ever want. Especially being self-destructive. Being self-destructive is a terrible, terrible thing. Yeah, that dispenser's been definitely putting in a lot of work. Yeah. That is a lot of feathers. I'm going to need to... Can I compost feathers? Is that a thing? Let me check if that's a thing real quick. I'll finish out digging off this... well, I suppose I can check first. Because I don't have much time. Do remember, this would be a great opportunity, if you haven't already, to like the video, leave a comment on your thoughts of the video, what you're thinking about the video. And you should also, of course, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my content. And if you want to see more, you should ring the notification bell. And darn, I was hoping I could compost feathers. I'll probably have to just set aside a barrel of feathers and then burn the rest. Oh my. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and do be sure to, and of course be sure to share the video with your friends so that your friends are capable of enjoying this lovely content as well. And I have a Patreon page. If you wish to donate money, I will greatly appreciate it. And I'll mention your name in the credits or something. I think I mentioned a lot of things on Patreon that I would do. And I'll do all of that stuff, of course. I put a lot of thought into the design of the Patreon page. I did some very heavy thinking on what I wanted to say and what I wanted it all to mean and how to phrase it and all that. And I think my Patreon page turned out decently well. I've yet to have any feedback because I don't currently have any followers on Patreon. So I can't really say for sure about a lot of this stuff. For the Patreon supporters, I will of course be mentioning them for the span of an entire month beyond certain payment points. So there is that to consider. A lot of people think it's free advertising, and it's like, well, it's not free. People are paying for it, and it will get their name out there, you know? Because you build up this platform, and if you manage to, you know, snag the domain name, like, for example, a certain a certain donor on Patreon who apparently makes amazing items on DM's Guild. I wouldn't mind having them sponsor me because they are a regular sponsor of a lot of the content that I enjoy, and I would like to actually make a lot of their content as well. I would love to play Dungeons and Dragons like with video content. I could theoretically screen record my phone for my Friday Dungeons and Dragons game. It's not currently running, so it might move from Fridays. I kind of just paused it suddenly because apparently no one was showing up, and it took them roughly 2 to 4 weeks to realize it. So that was kind of a good move because I'd have been waiting for them for those 2 to 4 weeks and they would not have noticed. And it's like, well, yeah, what do you guys think I do in my spare time on Friday evenings? I used to wait for you guys, but then I just stopped doing it, and you guys never really mentioned anything about it. So, just goes to show how I feel, right? Oh, boy. They were surprised that it had been so long since anybody had mentioned anything. They were like, really? Nobody mentioned anything? No. Matter of fact, you're the first person that's like, me? Really? Yeah. It's like, wow. That was a long time ago, too. Like, I really waited. Yeah. Like, I figured maybe you were just sick and you didn't tell us, and then I noticed, no, you're hopping online every now and then, you're checking your messages, but you're just quiet. And finally asked, hey, caught you while you were online. How you feeling? Noticed you haven't said much in the chat. And it's like, oh, yeah, I've been dealing with all of this other stuff, and nobody like mentioned to me, hey, you showing up? So I'm guessing what happened is nobody showed up, and because nobody showed up, nobody noticed that I wasn't there. So, how you been? It's like, oh, you noticed that, huh? It's like, yeah, I noticed that. How you been? I noticed you missed a few sessions. It's like, crap. You figured it out. It's like, yeah, you missed a few dozen sessions, so I kind of figured out the pattern. If I wait for you to ask me how I've been, I suddenly have your attention. I've been described as having a difficult personality to get along with, but I am a pretty decent person, and I've been told that my knowledge is well respected, even if my personality has somewhat suffered because of it. So, yeah. I shall finish mining out this line, and then I'll check the time on the recording, because I don't want that recording to go over its limit again. That would kind of suck, because then I'd have to edit the video again. And I do like having those actual raw footage episodes where I don't have to stitch it together. Yes, they are of lower quality, but at the same time, they are also much easier to make. Ow. What the? No, bad zombie. Bad skeleton. I saw you over there, skeleton. Go ahead and hurry back to the base. Hop in the bed, and I'll call it an episode there, I suppose. It's as good a time as any. Amongst the sound of dispensers dispensing nothing, and occasionally a chicken egg, but mostly nothing. It's just clicking, doing nothing. And so I shall see you all next episode, and stay safe.